right. So here we are. It is June, which means we are going over May's book, which was Why Has Nobody Told Me This Before by Dr. Julie Smith. Obviously, I liked it because I have the
You
hard
bought the
copy.
book. Yeah.
I bought the book. So, sorry. I actually finished it probably mid-May. So I've been done.
It was easy.
For a
It
while.
was an easy
Yeah.
read.
It was. It was an easy listen.
Yeah, listened really fast.
Yes.
Because you know
Yes.
me, I need to listen really fast because I like to get down to the wire. But I did finish the book, and
Before?
well before.
Nice. Very nice.
Yes, like it wasn't even the end of the day, so it was like well before. Okay,
You mean on the 31st, but early in the day?
yeah, that's well before for me. So we're working on it, but it did read faster than any of the other books that we have read. Like I got through it so quick, and I was like, oh, I'm almost done. Okay, so and it was. Maybe also because it's information I think all of us kind of know already to some extent. So,
But packaging it in ways that can be receptive.
yeah.
Yes, to me, this is like, excuse me, this is like therapy 101, right? All of those and she mentioned it numerous times. It's the psychoeducation that we walk through with our clients. And if I could have all my clients read this before coming in, that would make us processing it and making it, us processing their stuff through these lenses much faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much, much faster than me teaching them, but teaching them when it's applicable,
Yes.
right? When the client brings that story or that physical behavior, that we can go, this tool would help with that. So this is like a whole book, probably, I don't know, well over 100 different tools.
She packed a
tips,
lot
yeah.
into a small size
She really, really did,
and did it well, I think,
And
personally.
I was like, wait, we're getting into the high 20s of chapters. I'm like, dang girl,
they keep
I'm gonna
on
have to
coming.
see what this looks like. So I don't know that I would have. I think the way she broke it down into 8,
Yeah.
I think that's probably that's how I would have done it. Is 8
Yeah.
chapters, and then
but she did it like
Sections.
sections and then chapters.
right.
But it's intimidating. 36 chapters, but they weren't like crazy long or
yeah.
anything.
No, a couple of pages.
And she hit, I feel like almost everything.
Yeah, she did a really, really good job.
I
Even
like that.
relationships.
Yeah, I like that you can just go to whatever section and you don't have to read the section before. That was helpful. One day I had a client, and just a little bit before the session, I referenced the section on anxiety and pulled a few things. So that was really nice to have that. Just
Absolutely.
a little something before. And then I went back to where I was and wasn't lost.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
Yep. So what were your favorites?
You know, as soon as I started reading it, I was like, she's already got a lot of bangers. But I really liked the chapter on low mood and how she was talking about like how when we kind of have like negative thoughts, like we're searching for the negative, and that's kind of like how our belief patterns are like created. So we're constantly looking for what is going to validate what we already believe. So I
And
thought
that's
that
human
was-
nature because it's safe,
Yes.
right? If somebody is saying something or we are attaching new knowledge, learned knowledge, we want to attach it to something that we already have, and that's what creates that safety, right? So yes, if the negative is what has kept you safe because you have been in a perpetual unsafe situation, then you're going to have a hard time once you're out of that unsafe space to lean into being safe,
Yeah.
right?
I thought that was really good.
One of my favorites, and a topic I don't feel like I've seen, was the one about like fearing death.
Yeah. That was really
And
good.
I hadn't thought to look into that for our clients, and I've had some that have experienced that. And so for how she talked about it, it really stood out. I'm trying to find it, which chapter is that in, but
I think it was a titled chapter.
I don't remember if it was, but
Yeah, it
it
was
was.
towards
Is
the
it was it
end.
in fear?
Yes, and I remember highlighting something from that chapter as well, because I think that's
Was it
so
26,
interesting.
The Fear of the Inevitable?
Yeah, that's what it was. 223. Yes, it was. Okay, that was the chapter.
Because death is inevitable.
Yeah, and so I thought she really made it very easy to digest a different thought process around fearing death, and how because it's inevitable, it's like, okay, what are we going to focus on, right? Here, I'm like, where's that quote at? It's acceptance of death allows us to bring meaning to life, right? And building a sense of meaning in life and getting to work on living in line with that allows us to accept death as part of life. So it almost goes into like us living within our values, right?
Right.
Because are you fearing something because you're not like sure of like life in general, right?
Yep.
So.
Yep.
And the grief. I really liked the grief one. There was a quote in that one that really opened my eyes. That talked about anger. And I think it stood out so much for me. I was like, there's an anger chapter. When I was thinking about it, I went back to look and I was like, wait, no, it's not. Like, it's in the grief, but it says, trying, like, you know how we talk about breathing a lot, right? But I hadn't heard it said this way of like doing like a breathing exercise if you're angry is not something that you should necessarily do for that. Like you getting the anger out first and then going into doing something more relaxing. So like moving through the anger is how she described it.
Right. It's it's one of those that you have to remind people again, like you are still responsible for your words and your actions. Right. So I think that's where people get stuck on that.
Yeah.
You definitely need to breathe if that's where you're going.
Yeah.
If that's where your anger is going, right? You better breathe and take some moments before you speak what you're about to speak, right? Don't shove away the anger.
Yeah.
Right? It's learning how to roll through with the emotion, and breathing is important with that, but it's not disassociating and stuffing it away and then moving on. I always tell people, like, we got to get through, you got to process through. There's nothing wrong with disassociation as long as you go back and process the emotion that you had in the beginning, that you were trying to get some distance between. And breathing is one of those things that will give you the distance. So there's nothing wrong with that, but you must process what you were feeling.
Yeah. And so that's the processing part is what she was referring to, is like ruminating on angry thoughts.
Right.
Is not okay, and trying to relax yourself away, because we're trying to process, right? So not disassociating, but trying to relax yourself out of the angry thoughts may not be the only, like, or may not be helpful for everybody. And so moving through that, right?
Absolutely. I had a client, and it is so important of understanding your client and knowing how they learn and how they process things and what their bodies do. I remember one of my first clients doing exactly that. She was getting wound up in my office on the verge of an anxiety attack. And I said, okay, I want you to follow me and I want you to breathe, right? We're gonna eye lock, and I want you to then peripherally watch my chest rise, and I'm gonna purposefully make it rise so that we can sync with each other. because that's what humans want to do, right? We want to sync and we want to know we're a herd, right? That ramped her up even more. I watched it and I'm like, this is not what's supposed to be happening, right? And so instead, we kept eyes, and then we sat on the edge of our chair, on the edge of the couch, and we basically ran in place, pumping our arms and our knees up and down, right? And basically exhausted that out of her. She got that energy that was overwhelming her out through a physical act. Then she was able to relax, and then we could focus on breathing. But the breathing literally ramped her up, right? So it is knowing and being okay to lean in with your client and do what you feel intuitively that they need to they need to do. And that's where I think a lot of new counselors get hung on, what am I supposed to do next? There's a 1 through 10 step on how we do this. What's the next step? And it's like, no. That's the building of the rapport, right? We talked about from the very, very beginning. Every new counselor says, okay, what do I do here? What do I do here? And I always say, lean in and build the rapport. Just learn your person. And that gets you leaps and bounds, and them leaps and bounds forward in therapy, right? Because that's where you will start to learn. Don't cut off a client in their storytelling, right? I've got one who loves to tell stories, and we're a narrative people, right? Just species, we're a narrative. That's how we related, safety concerns, right? As tribals, they pass down the stories from one generation to the next to keep them safe, and that's going to be your natural tendency. Let me tell you the whole story, and then you can see how everything is tied together, right? And they feel hurt because you didn't cut them off.
Yeah, I think with that too, like mentioning, like still addressing it. She talks some about like when you try to purposefully not think about the thoughts, you can't not think about the thoughts, and that makes it like tenfold.
Right. So it's like we were talking about the other day. Did you tell your child to not do something instead of telling your child what to correctly do? Where do you want them to focus?
Yeah. So. And it creates, I remember her saying, like, it creates more of those negative thoughts.
And that's like when the loop happens.
Right. And then speaking it, if we never speak what's spinning, that spinning grows, right? It becomes a monster.
Yeah.
And I always tell everyone, speak it out loud. I know it feels so stupid in the moment. I've been there. You're talking to yourself, but you need to get out and exorcise the demons. Get it out. Hear it. Here's what actually hear what is actually going on in your head, and then you can combat it. That's not logical, and you could do this is a thought distortion. This is, over personalizing. This is, choose your CBT.
Yeah, I like how she had in the book, like kind of bolded, like overgeneralization, like egocentrism, like all those different things. I was like, oh. Yeah.
Along the same lines with thoughts I liked that she was like, put distance between you and your thought, right? And her example was one where it says, like, instead of saying, I'm going to make a fool of myself during this speech, say, I'm having thoughts about making a fool of myself. I notice those trigger feelings of anxiety. Like, almost like what people like to say, like, I'm not claiming that.
Like acknowledging it.
Yeah.
Right. Owning that piece. Nope, I'm not picking that up.
Yeah, that is not mine. My brain is having thoughts about that. I am not that thought, right? And so I really liked that one. And I was like, that's a great way to do it. And it will feel weird the first time you do it, like you were saying.
It totally feels weird.
I'm having thoughts about.
You feel like you're 6. You totally feel like you're 6, and you're like, I feel dumb.
Yep.
Yeah. And how she was talking about, like, thoughts are not facts. They're based on everything around us, including food and sleep and
absolutely.
All the things.
I think she mentioned it in here. you know, I've had clients, and it's a known thing, that lean on the OCD portion of anxiety, where it's not that they would ever harm their child, but then suddenly they're so hyper vigilant on safety that then thoughts of, I'm going to harm my child, I'm going to get so angry, I'm going to harm my child or whatever, and then they don't want to speak those things because, you know, is CPS going to be called, or is, you know, this, they're going to see this really dark side of me, and they're going to think that I'm capable of these things. And I've walked through that with numerous clients of going, you're speaking it, and when we have a thought, that's not a representation of us, just like a dream is not a representation of us. It's just something that your brain put together and popped in there. It's not you, right? It is not a fact. It is just a thought.
And I like here where she says, the brain naturally wants to focus on threatening information because its job is to keep us safe. If we are already stressed or anxious, then the brain will do that even more, right? So it's like, and we're talking about this right now on the blog. We have blogs on, like, does the thought come first, or does your body tell yourself to have the thought, right? And it's like, it's your body. It's not the thoughts. It's the chicken or the egg, right? But the body is telling itself whether it's threatened or not, which then creates the thought processes. So it's cool that, like, I like how she is explaining it, right?
Yes. No, she did a great job with it. She really, really did.
And then how she talks about, like, the spotlight when we are having those moments, if we can put a spotlight on something else instead of whatever it might be that we're, like, hyper fixated on. I thought that was nice.
Being able to shift.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What was another thing that she said I liked?
I like how she incorporated values quite a bit.
Yes.
That was really nice. I don't think we've read a book that really talked so much about values yet.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
One thing she mentioned that when I read these books, if something is mentioned that I have said and I have never read about it, I just was like, that sounds great. She mentioned, like, riding your emotions like a wave, right? And, like, letting them come and roll over you, right? And that's something I've told my I've told my clients, and I continue to tell my clients. But then when she wrote it, I was like, I am doing a good job. Yeah.
That's one of my classic examples, because it feelings come and go, emotions come and go. You're not ever happy all the time.
Yeah.
And this idea, we get clients in here all the time, they're like, well, I just want to be happy. Okay, well, then you just got to be sad sometimes, and you just got to be envious sometimes, and you just got to be, you know, frustrated sometimes. Like, it is a moment. It is literally just a wave. We don't know how long it's going to last. It's usually not long, right? And then we can get into neurotransmitters and how long it actually lasts, and choosing to just ride it till the next one comes.
Yep.
And then behaviorally putting other things in place that will shift that emotion, right? Yeah. And I always say motion causes emotion. So go find something motion-wise, and you will switch your emotions.
Yeah. Life will always life, and something that I've been talking about with some clients is, like, even, like, trying to look for just one small thing that happened in the day, like whether it be the light turning green really fast or seeing something pretty, just being able to look for one small thing, because that can also help with
that begins to shift.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Right now, it's tree frogs for me. My mom, I was on the phone, had her on Bluetooth as I got up to my drive, and I was like, hold on, Mom, I got to get the mail real quick. And so I always leave the truck door open, and I get the mail. And there's that tank right there across from the mailboxes. Because of all the rain yesterday, well, it's not correct, but we call them locusts. They're katydids, whatever, you know, the big, really pretty ones. They were going nuts, and so were the tree frogs. I mean, so loud. And I got back in the truck. I was like, okay, Mom, sorry. I said, man, they're loud today. And she goes, is that what that noise was? So she could hear how
wow.
loud they were
Mm-hmm.
just through, Bluetooth. But that always makes me really, really happy, right? But finding those little things, especially at the end of your day,
Yeah.
in
No,
the beginning to start, right?
I got a $57 oil change, and that's the highlight of my day. I don't think I've ever Christian Brothers on Grant Road. If you are in Cypress, Texas, $57.
Nice.
And they were super nice, and the furniture in there is really nice and comfortable and clean.
Nice.
So
Well, there's one just right here.
I know, but
I know. I'm just
those
saying.
are my
there's also
guys
one right
now. It's like those are, but okay, this is not about that ADHD tangent, but all locations do different things. But that is my highlight for my day today, because I was like, I've spent over $100 for so long, I don't even know what a $50-something oil change is.
Well, there you go. They're your new people.
Exactly.
Right.
But yeah, finding the good thing. And this quote she says is like, so when it comes to changing your mood, the ingredients that go in will determine what comes out.
Yep.
Right. And so finding
That's
that stuff.
emotion begets
Mm-hmm.
emotion.
That's so funny. I was just watching a reel. Adam sent it to me earlier, and it was about when couples like have arguments or disagreements, and then whether they become defensive or whatever. And it was like, when you bump into someone that's holding a cup of coffee, why did they spill their coffee? And they say, well, because you bumped into him. Well, no, because his cup was filled with coffee. So like those things that are in us like come out. So that just reminded me of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I liked chapter 29. That was when good stress goes bad. Right? And this idea, I think it's definitely the younger
Self-care.
generations, but the idea that all stress is bad. And it's not, right? I mean, stress that moves us forward in a healthy way, that, anticipation of a deadline, those are all good things that help us perform, right? And learning how to look at good stress, it actually has a name. It's called eustress, EU stress. That's good for us, right? Just like with the Oura ring, I can get wrapped in my head going, well, there was X amount of hours of stress today, but I was sitting at a wine shop with my girlfriends, and it was just because I was excited. It was not bad stress.
Well, it's not bad stress.
Right? But Oura doesn't classify that, and I wish it would. Like, I wish I could, like,
Yeah,
say,
could
no,
I
no,
be
no,
like,
no.
this was fun time, and then it
Right.
goes, okay, stress, not actually a thing.
Right? That was
Yeah.
restorative time.
Yeah.
It was restorative time. So, anyways, so that chapter I really liked, and of course, because I'm in that class, I liked their visual of pressure, right, and performance, and where it's optimal, and then where it gets to the point where it's burnout, right, and learning that we've got to figure that out. And the clientele that I work with are all high achievers, high performing. We could classify overachievers. And so most of mine are to the right of that optimal performance, and not understanding that if you would dial it down, you would actually perform better, right? So that's the conversation that I end up having the most with mine. Because they get in here and they've been burned out for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and then they can't see that they ever weren't the way they are.
For sure.
There are a bunch of really good visuals in here.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed that. And then also, I enjoy like the try this, or like there's like a little light bulb and it's like try this, or
And the audio
toolkit.
Ding.
Yeah, ding. Try this, or it's like ding toolkit, like what to put in. I was like, that's so cool. I liked her. Gosh, I'm probably not gonna be able to find it quickly, but she talks about having like an emotion, like a box, right, of things, and not just for like suicidal ideation, because I know we've talked about
Right, the
that,
hope
like
chest,
having a
hope
hope
box.
box. Yes.
Yeah.
But it was like an emotion box, like of things that like either make you happy or like lift your mood, and having a box of those things, setting aside, so when you are having like a bad day or something, you have something to go to that will like make you feel a little bit better. And I was like, that is such a good, I don't know why I've never thought about it for that reason, but I was like, that's such a good idea.
You don't have to have it when you're ideating.
Yeah.
Only when you're ideating, or you can have it for any point in time. And I do that with my teens, of creating a box of things that make them happy. Right.
It made me just think about myself. I'm like, that'd be a great idea. Like, have some pictures and like
And textures and smells.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. Go to all those base needs and trigger them.
I do like how she talked about smell and how like and finding one like that does make you happy, and or I know say make you happy, but like uplifts your mood. And like how I think she gave a lot of space to talk about that, and I thought that was really cool.
It's it's 100% primal, and it's attached directly to the limbic and the amygdala. And if it's one of your primal senses, survival mechanism, smell was that, taste was that, right? They would smell something before. Is this good to eat? Is this not? Those types of things. I think I've told you about Dr. Perry and his working with some of the kids, and when he was working with one of them, when he would come into the room, the kid would escalate, rage.
Yeah, you did talk
right,
about that.
whatever, and he finally figured out it was his aftershave, right? The smell, because that's what the kid's abuser wore. That is that level of smell. So you can use that for bad, or you can use that for good and calming. And it's like when you walk into your grandma's house and it smells like grandma, and you find yourself exhaling, right? So finding those things. Common ones are lavender and coconut. Coconut's one of my favorites, but it's why I have the smell that I have in the lobby, because that's Cabo. You'll find out. But when you walk into the lobby, it is essentially
Sorry.
Bath and Body Works white tea and sage. So use it.
I
And
thought about my
I have
mom's
mine.
perfume that she wore when I was in like middle school.
Oil of Olay. That was my granny.
Oh.
So I have some.
Yeah.
I like Old Spice, the original Old Spice. That was my dad. So yeah, 100% smelling cookies, smelling like there's just certain things that I attach with family members that always makes me smile.
Yep.
I had a soap. I bought a dish soap the other day, and it reminded me of my great aunt. And I hadn't even thought about it, but then I smelled it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm with my great aunt, like 5 years old, washing dishes.
Yeah.
Cute.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
when you're teaching breathing, I think I've shown y'all. I have like the different rollerball oils, having them put it on their fingertips and deep breathe, and then you'll retrain your brain to calm, right? So then they can just use the smell later on.
It made me think about what you got Cece for her birthday, the bracelet that you can put the essential oils in. She mentioned like opening a keychain that might have like a stuffed animal on it and like putting the scent in there, and so that can be something that you use too. I thought that was a neat idea, especially because those are kind of big right now. Like, I know
There's so many little like gadgets.
Crap.
Oh my gosh.
Waste of money.
I have a business idea, but I'm not going to say it here so that nobody takes it from us.
Okay.
Because I feel like it'd be a really good one.
Well, so we're like right at time. What's the decision for June, ladies?
So
We're gonna do the
training,
the
the
CEUs.
CEUs. Yeah,
CEUs.
the
Okay.
training.
So next month we'll be talking about nutrition and movement and sleep and integrative mental health provider
Yep.
tenets.
Yep. Should we also give like a review on the training?
Sure, why not?
Yeah. So then if anyone's interested,
Absolutely.
we will give you our honest opinion on
Yep.
it.
Yep. Y'all are completing
30 hours.
hours.
Yeah.
32 continuing education units on becoming an integrated mental health provider. It is a certification. So we'll see what you guys think.
Yep. Alrighty. Bye-bye.
All right.
So